Hey, we just saw Spider-Man Homecoming, and I thought it was pretty good. What'd you think?
I thought it was actually very, very good. Yeah,
Mhm.
I was really a fan of it.
Yeah, and I have to say, with all these superhero movies, I watch these movies very casually because every time I go in, I'm like, oh, it's going to be like the same thing, because every movie nowadays is a superhero movie. And that considering, this one was pretty awesome. So I think Marvel's been doing pretty good. Like they usually seem to be pretty consistent. That like I can't remember the last time I saw one that was like bad. And also on the DC side, they've been stepping it up. Wonder Woman was great.
Mm-hmm.
So this year's been pretty good so far. Universal's got some work to do with the Mummy, and the Mummy was the only bad movie I've seen this year so far. But
Yeah.
I think, but what I really liked, one thing was that they didn't need to go into the Spider-Man backstory again, because every Batman movie, Bruce Wayne's parents get shot. Every Spider-Man movie, he gets bit by the spider. This time, it's like, okay, you're good to go. You can just jump right in. I like that. Really liked Peter Parker in this one. Really liked the villain. I like that. I won't say what happens, but I really like that the hero and the villain interacted in a unique situation that you don't see happen very often. And I thought that was really, really cool.
I wouldn't want to give away that's a bit of a spoiler, but yeah, I enjoyed that as well.
Yeah. I like that there's a lot of humor in it. There's something funny about the idea of slinging webs and just like, swinging around, because if you did that in real life, you'd get yourself hurt, and he gets himself hurt a lot. And there's just something funny in that. Also, I really liked in superhero movies, whenever it's not just like a bunch of fighting and like stuff blowing up, but there's actual like people in peril that have to be saved. And there's a couple situations like that where Spider-Man has to save somebody, and the way it's set up, you're really like on the edge of your seat, and you want to see the people get saved. Yeah, I mean, help me out here. What else? What do you think of it? Oh, and you're a lot more familiar with the comics. You read a lot of the classic Spider-Man comics. So how do you think this, held up with all that?
That's true. So I've read there's a Spider-Man omnibus,
Mm-hmm.
and it collects the first, I forget how many, 60 or 100 comics, and I read pretty much that entire thing. And this was the first Spider-Man movie that I felt really had the spirit of the comics right down to a T. I'm a big fan of the Tobey Maguire, Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, but as good as those were, they weren't perfect. They didn't get them quite right. If you're a fan of the comics, if you don't know anything about the comics and you just go in and see it as a Spider-Man movie, those movies are great. But if you read the comics and then you watch those movies, there's a lot of things that you feel like, oh, well, that's a lot different here and there. Where this movie, I feel like, was almost a love letter to the people who read the original comics. Just the fact that the Vulture is the villain in the movie. And by the way, Michael Keaton, I thought he was awesome as the Vulture. He did a great job. And yeah, seeing the Vulture, because the Vulture was one of the early villains for that we hadn't seen yet in a Spider-Man movie. So I thought that was great. I wasn't a huge fan of the last couple movies with Andrew Garfield. I felt like he did not portray Peter Parker the way Peter Parker should be portrayed. And prior to this, I thought that the actors who had played Spider-Man were also a little too old for the part. This is the first time, because Spider-Man's supposed to be a young kid. Here he's a 15, 16-year-old kid, which is the age he's supposed to be. And also he's very intelligent, and they play that up very well. The character's supposed to be very intelligent and nerdy. Here you actually buy that when he's saying all these, they send him off to Washington D.C. to be in a some sort of tournament, or what was that exactly? The
Decathon, or whatever,
when they do that, you buy that that he would actually be there. So he's smart, but at the same time, as well as he nailed Peter Parker, which is so important, he nailed Spider-Man too. And what I liked here is that he was so cocky as Spider-Man, and he was always joking around. When you read the original comics, Spider-Man's always throwing out one-liners, even if he's in a really, really bad situation.
But he's also like awkward at the same time.
He's awkward at the same time, and this kid, Tom Holland, I believe is his name. He played him, I thought, perfectly for somebody who's a fan of the comics. And I know people love the Sam Raimi version, and I do too, but if you're a fan of the comics, this is as close as it's ever come, and that's what I've been wanting to see, because Spider-Man is my favorite superhero, flat out. Like, when I read the comics, I love Spider-Man, and this is the first time I watched the movie, and I was like, wow, they're actually getting it right for once.
What did you think about Iron Man, the movie? Did it feel like, oh, okay, well, it's Iron Man again, or did it feel like, I don't know, really necessary?
Well, again, going back to the comics, if you read the early comics, the Avengers and those characters sometimes make appearances. So I know I've heard people make complaints that, it's just they're showing the Marvel Cinematic Universe over and over and over. But it's like they did that back with the original comics. There would be issues where the Human Torch would appear, or things like that, or that's the Fantastic Four. But they would do things in the early comics. They would introduce like the Hulk. I remember there was an issue. Oh, you know what? Here's a good analogy. Actually, is in this movie there's a great part where, and people might have always wondered, what would Spider-Man do if he wasn't in the city, if he was out in a field or something and he had to use his web slingers? He can't swing on anything. And there was a great moment in this movie,
really great,
where something like that happens.
Not to like give it away. I think it's funnier when you just see it, but it's like,
but. Back in the day, in the comics, I remember there was an issue where Spider-Man had to fight the Hulk, one of the Avengers, and I remember
which does not happen in the movie.
No. I'm talking about an old comic, and I believe what happens is he's out in a desert or something, and if you're out in a desert, what's he gonna swing onto? And I thought that was great that they brought that. So they acknowledged that back in the day with the comics, but I think it's great that they finally acknowledge that in a movie now. So that was a great moment. I was really a fan of this movie. All the action scenes were really well done. The CGI, I believed it.
Yeah.
The action sequences were really. There was a scene that they show in the trailer with the ship and everything, and it reminded me a little bit of. Do you remember in I think it was Spider-Man 2 where Spider-Man has to stop a subway train? Do you remember that at all?
Yeah, which is a great scene.
Which is a great scene. In this movie, there's a scene like that with that ship that kind of reminds me of that, where he has to, sort of save the ship. So yeah, I don't think I have any complaints about this movie that I can think of.
I was just gonna say that, like, I really don't see anything wrong with it. Like, I mean, it's not like a masterpiece. It's not like an award-winning like thing. But as far as these type of like pulpy superhero action movies go, like, this is about as good as it gets. Especially this late in the game with so many, with the franchise fatigue going on, like just so much
the superhero
overstimulation. Like
to have it still be good.
To have this one come out now and be like, oh, okay, they're rebooting Spider-Man again. Like considering all that, this is really good.
Also, speaking of the Sam Raimi movies again, there's such a good theme in that movie for Spider-Man. But what I liked about this movie is they used the original Spider-Man, and I thought that was a good moment in the beginning of the movie when they brought that back. I was like, hey,
like an orchestral version. I was like, oh wow, they're acknowledging that there's a theme.
And again, that brought me back in time, because there used to be a cartoon that used that theme and stuff. That brought me back to back with reading those comics or watching those cartoons as a kid, hearing that theme again. That's the Spider-Man theme. I mean, it's kind of like the difference between the Tim Burton theme and the Adam West Batman theme. It's kind of like I would equate the theme that they use, the Spider-Man. That's more like the Adam West version of the Spider-Man song.
What I mean? It does have that kind of like a very campy kind of feel.
And I like that they use that. It made me feel like, hey, this is Spider-Man, and
like they're not forgetting that.
Yeah, and also speaking of credits, the end credits I thought were really awesome. They were very artistic and well done.
The end credits was like a breath of fresh air. It was like, okay, well, this isn't trying to be like all like gritty and like this was like a really nice, flashy, just fun end credit sequence. Like, we were about to get up and the movie's over. It's like, oh, wait, let's sit and watch this. This is really cool.
Yeah, and then
then there is a little something. I mean,
yeah.
a little post-credit thing that happens right after that. But, you won't miss it because you'll be so busy watching this awesome credit sequence.
Yeah, definitely stick around for that because you want to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was speaking of that. Okay. There is. I did find one very minor thing about all these movies that kind of annoys me.
Okay.
It's very minor, but that they never name the characters, like mainly the villains, like the Vulture. I would not have known he was called the Vulture had you not have told me before we went into the movie. I would have never known. I would have just looked at this guy and be like, okay, well, was he? I think maybe he is Birdman. Yeah, you see what I did there?
Michael Keaton. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Iron Man 2. I remember the Mickey Rourke character, and I was like, oh wow, this villain, I really like him. Who is this guy? What's he called? And I had to look it up. It's Whiplash. It's like, why don't they say the names anymore? Like in Tim Burton's Batman, he says, you can just call me Joker. Like, why don't they do that? I mean, I can understand they're like, oh, well, that's cheesy. We don't do that now. But, like, you could do it in so many different ways. Like, it could be written on something, or, like, he could do it in, like, sign language or something. Like, do it any fucking way you want. Just get the name in there somehow.
I agree with that. And speaking of that, Michael Keaton was in this movie. It would be awesome if, I don't know what the character would be, but imagine if they got Jack Nicholson as a Spider-Man villain in one of the future ones. I wonder if that would be possible at all.
Well, Michael Keaton, is it the first time? I can't think of another example where somebody who played a superhero went on to play a
supervillain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And he was awesome.
Oh, yeah, he's always awesome. I never have complaints about Michael Keaton. Even in RoboCop, it was awesome to see him.
Yeah, so,
I don't have much more to say.
Okay.
I think we hit upon everything. Like I said, I see these movies, these superhero movies, I see pretty casually.
Yeah.
And this one, it entertained. It held up. I really liked it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good.
Cool. Okay, all right.